At the beginning of spring of 2025, I picked up the anime To Be Hero X, which was a Chinese anime that was not really based on anything, and it was an original anime, and it was making its big debut this year. I remember finding this anime, watching the trailer, very much liking the trailer, and putting it into my watch list, and I remember very fondly what I said in that video. This anime will not have a middle ground. It will either be one of the best anime to come out of 2025 or one of the biggest flops for anime that we have ever seen. And I was not wrong, because To Be Hero X ended up becoming one of the biggest talked about animes of that season and of the summer season as well. The question is, was it for good or was it for bad? Well, you clicked on this video, you saw the title and you saw the thumbnail, so you can make the safe assumption that yes, I really like To Be Hero X, and I would go as far as to say that To Be X is in the very high running, probably top 3 at the very least, for anime of the year. And personally, I don't even think that is a hot take to even begin with. Now, I do want to go ahead and put a disclaimer. I usually don't with my videos, but for this particular situation, I want to go ahead and do it. Because if you are someone who has not watched the anime yet, or you are somebody who is very early on, maybe the first couple of episodes into To Be Hero X, please don't watch this video. I think To Be Hero X is so great and it does such a good job at what it actually does that you need to be experiencing it for yourself. I don't think my review or any of my other peers or anybody in the anime community's review is going to really capture how special To Be Hero X is. And it is an anime I encourage you to very much give a try and give your all to, because it is something that is quite phenomenal. Yeah, I know, I might be a little weird for turning you away from this video, and maybe you'll go and find somebody else who doesn't do that, but I want you to understand that I care about the medium a lot, and when something does something really special, I want people to experience that firsthand. I do like the views, I do like the fact that I can have this video grow, but also at the same time, if you are somebody who is actually interested in To Be Hero X, then I'd like to rather encourage you to go ahead and experience that special thing for yourself, and maybe come back and even comment how you appreciate that fact. I don't know, maybe I'm just up myself about it, but just so you know, you have been thoroughly warned about what is to come. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the review, because I have quite a lot to say about To Be Hero X. To Be Hero X isn't just a good or great anime. It is an anime that's special because it does things that I rarely, if not ever, see anime ever do, and it's basically a first time for me. Now, I do want to go ahead and make it clear, I'm not saying that anime never does this. There's so much anime out there, and I'm one person, and while I have watched a lot of anime, I want to make it clear that this is just the first time I've have experienced such a thing. And that special thing is the storytelling of To Be Hero X, and how the way it tells its story is woven out through everything. It basically takes the idea of drip feeding information to the viewer to such a degree of extra, but executed in such a way that is satisfying, at least once everything is finally all put together. And I will say, To Be Hero X does take its time, and you might be a little frustrated with it at times, but I will also say that it has some of the satisfying twists that you can have within a show, and it makes up for it even to the length that it goes. And my god, it goes pretty far, because the whole storytelling structure for To Be Hero X is that each 1 to a couple, maybe 2 or 3 episodes will follow a particular hero going through the actual world of To Be Hero X and their own little journey. Sometimes you will have characters cross over into other people's stories, like Lucky Cyan, Queen, and Little Johnny, all being very interactive in the 3 of their own stories. But sometimes this also doesn't happen, like with characters like the Commoner or Isol. But even those isolated stories will still have some piece of a puzzle to the grander vision of what To Be Hero X is supposed to be. And while it does at times do a very extreme dry drip feed, it does at the same time give you enough to still really be interested in the world. And the world itself is extremely well built, with so many secrets in the way that things work in terms of the powers, and the whole way trust values work in the sense of giving people's powers and all that stuff is also extremely well built. Everything plays into something, and there really is no wasted motion when it comes to To Be Hero X. Now, like I said before, when it comes to the individual stories for the characters and the little drip feed that we get, yeah, sometimes the story will get frustrating. And there was a good big chunk of period of time where I constantly kept asking myself, yeah, this is cool, but when are we gonna get this extra information? We haven't touched on particular characters in so long that I don't even know what we're gonna be doing with them. And at times, I did convince myself that To Be Hero X was treating itself more like an anthology series rather than an actual intertwining story, which is fine. I'm all good for a little bit of anthology series if you want to just tell us individual stories to explore the world that you made without any real grounding. Just, that's not what it felt like in the beginning, so it felt like somewhat of a detraction. But I will fully admit, I was wrong, and they got me with some of the best twist in this show, to the point where the twist had twist upon twist, and it still opened up questions that I didn't even fathom asking during watching this. They took a heavy risk to teasing the viewers this way, and I wasn't the only one that had this similar sentiment. So it was really nice seeing this twist come out and all these other little things get exposed and connected finally, to the point where everyone was unanimously saying that, hey, To Be Hero X, it's pretty damn good. And everything makes so much sense now, if you wanted to even watch it back, you'll notice things that you never even noticed before. And so many other actions taken by other characters, or maybe even background things that you've never even seen before, makes so much sense. It is a show that has an attention to detail that is freaking amazing, dude. And when I mean everything is intertwined, I genuinely mean everything is intertwined. To the point that even the way the animation works is itself part of the story. Which is funny because I remember all these reports coming out of the studio having to go ahead and go to just a 2D format rather than switching from 2D to 3D, mainly because of just how expensive doing all that was. When in reality, nope! It was just a story plot that, funny enough, someone in my previous channel that I don't really upload on anymore, so I won't mention it here, but some previous channel actually called that out, and they were right. It was really impressive, and I was shocked when that happened. Plus, I will just say, the animation for the show is just super awesome. You can tell that the people put so much love and care into all the little scenes from the 2D to the 3D to any other type of animation format that they put it into. Everything was thought of, everything was cared for, and you can tell the passion behind it. And that made watching this just ever more better. And it's also even crazier to think that this much work was put into a prologue. The first season of To Be Hero X is just a setup for the tournament that's going to happen in the next season that we end off of in the end of the first. Which is insane to me that they did all this world building just to give us the context for the tournament. Which, given how the animation is gonna go so hard. And I gotta say, watching To Be Hero X does make me want to go out and watch more of these Chinese shows. Because yeah, To Be Hero X is a Chinese anime, and dude, the Chinese market has genuinely been killing it with a lot of the cool shit that's been coming out. Now, I will also say this wasn't just a purely Chinese product. This was a Chinese-Japanese collaboration where Badream and Bilibili working together with Aniplex to pull this off. But still, this is amazing, and it makes me want to go out and watch more. I know I've heard stuff about Legend of He, I think it's called, which is the animation movie that's been popping up, and I think it just got a sequel, so don't be surprised if you see that in the horizon in the near future. I know I didn't go too deep into the little nuances of everything, and it was also really hard to write this review without doing that, but that's because even though I did talk about a lot of things and even spoil a little bit of things, I still want you to go ahead and experience this show. I don't want to give away too much because if you are interested in watching this through my video, I do hope that this video can give you that inspiration too. To Be Hero X is an anime that is really something because it is an anime that really stands out in an era where we're actually getting a lot of bangers. Remember, this was in the middle of its airing when stuff like Dandadan and Kaiju No. 8 and My Dress Up Darling and Sakamoto Days and Bunny Girl Senpai were all coming out in the same time, along with new animes like The Summer Hikaru Died and Fragrant Flower really bursting onto the scenes. So it was going against tough competition along with other anime that was also coming out in the previous one. Yet this is one of the anime that people constantly talk about in terms of high quality, apart from a few anime that beat it out. But the fact that you still were able to latch on and have a good talking point in a sea of anime like that is impressive, because it does a lot of impressive things. So don't sleep on it, please. I really want so many more people to go ahead and watch this anime and give it the flowers that it truly deserves.
I'm like so gay.